Hello, everybody. So, today I wanted to talk about law and capital and how potentially through law and through order and through rules and regulations, you can actually create capital, money, wealth, prosperity. Now, I think I'm going to be talking about it on a bigger scale, but I think this is the case on an individual scale as well. Just think about you when you get your life in order together and when you're able to actually focus on making money and making progress, right? You need order. You can't be making progress if you're living chaotic, right? Even though a lot of rappers may talk about that in their videos, like how I'm just smoking, drinking at the club, women, cars, crime, but I'm making like wealth, right? And I mean, that would be a feat, right? If you were able to combine those two things. But I'm going to be talking about how you have to have that order, right? Now, this is coming from a book I'm currently reading, or I started reading, called The Mystery of the Capital. And it's very interesting because anytime I start reading a new book or start reading something, I think that the ideas, and I don't know if this is because after a while you get used to the ideas in the book, but the first like pages of that book are going to be the ones that are going to hit you the hardest, right? They're going to be the mind changing, mind bending, mind blowing ideas that are going to make you start to see things differently, right? After that, it's just like a lot of explanation of the initial ideas, but I think mm, like you need to have that first um, like interaction with the ideas. If you have that first interaction, I think that those are the moments where you can share the ideas. Like I just started reading this book on this and it's talking about this, and that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so there are a couple points I want to go down. And the first one is that rules or laws create wealth, right? Now, by this we mean, this book is obviously talking about capital and capitalism, right? And I thought it would be interesting to read it because obviously there are a lot of communist ideas out there, right, on how the government should um, basically interfere less in people's rights and people's freedoms. But then, there's this really interesting thing that I heard from somebody. I'm going to try to put it in this video if I can. But the person basically says, if uh, you're going to have chaos or disorder if you don't have certain regulations, and I think he calls them wise constraints that paradoxically, I'm adding that in, paradoxically make men free, right? Which is this idea of you do need law and order in order for there to be freedom. Because if there is no law and order and there's absolute freedom, right? Because that absolute is in excess, that's always bad. Then you're going to just only have chaos, people killing each other, raping, doing whatever they want, stealing. And in that type of life, yeah, there's complete freedom. You can do whatever you want, but you're probably going to get murdered, or you're probably going to become a victim of a predator, right? So in order for everybody to have freedom, right, not just the strongest or the most powerful, you do need regulations and limits. Now, we can get into this whole topic, but that's not what we're going to do in this video, on how the rich and powerful are still being predators, and I would agree with that idea, but that's for another video. Now, in this case, we're talking about rules and laws create wealth, but when they're actually being followed, right? Now, we can think about this, like, for example, in poor countries or underdeveloped countries, you see a lot of graffiti, and graffiti is a sign of breaking the law, right? Now that it's a sign like that, right? Like it's a symbol of rebellion against the state and against order, right? But I think it's a cultural symbol. But then again, when it actually happens under the authorities watch, and they can't do anything to stop it, and it doesn't only make the city aesthetically like ugly, but it actually tells you that there's no order there, right? The rules and laws that exist aren't being carried out, right? People aren't being punished for what they're doing, basically. So we need more laws, but we need to be careful because we can't just go about putting out laws, we need to put out laws that are right and natural. Now, what does this mean? It means that they kind of have to be regulations that are already there, maybe implicitly or explicitly, and we can either modify them or we can just make them explicit. Like, look, you guys already do this, right? And that way it will be able to make everybody work towards their progress, their well, right? Sorry, I was gonna sneeze, but I didn't. Okay, so use what's already there, adapt and flow effortlessly, which is also like a magician archetype tactic. And very important, people need to believe this, right? Now, many people believe, and this kind of ties in. I mean, you start to see a lot of correlations with this idea. Like, think about people, think about a person that has a water bottle and you say, hey, can I get a drink of your water bottle? And that person's like, oh, yeah, here, for sure. You know, so they easily let other people borrow things. They lend things to people, right? They say, yeah, take this, take that, you know. And they may borrow things from people too, right? They may expect other people to lend them things like, hey, can I borrow your car? Can I borrow this, right? Can I borrow your clothes, right? Those type of people and those type of societies don't prosper because they don't take care of their property. They don't take care of their possessions. And that's actually one of the main ideas in capitalism, property. The right to property and the right to protect and defend your property, right? Not just like your land, but like even a water bottle, right? Now think about a person that has their water bottle, right? Let's consider the other side of the coin. And you ask that person for a drink, hey, can I get a drink of your water bottle? And that person's like, no, like that's disgusting. Like, what do you mean? Like, they're gonna protect their water bottle, right? Like, you get your own. Like, go out there and buy your own water bottle, right? Now that may come across as like, oh, they're selfish, they're individualistic, but hey, guess what? They're taking care of their property, and for that, they're gonna benefit and they're gonna prosper, right? They're gonna be able to then help out people if they really want to because they're gonna have something to give, right? Not just like whatever they minimally have at that moment. So you start to see these ideas and you start to see these behaviors in society as it is, right? Like, think about that. Think about a person that can easily let you borrow something, and then think about a person that that would be hard for them to let you borrow something, and ask yourself who's more prosperous, who has more wealth, right? That's a no-brainer. Um, okay, so you see this in countries that are underdeveloped. So the idea is take care of your property, defend your property, right? And this ties into a documentary series which I'm making right now on the British or the English, where they would say this thing that went like, play up, play up, play the game, right? And it's not about winning and being victorious, but how you play the game, right? Which ties in directly to being aware of what you're doing during the moment, right? So it's not about winning, it's not about the objective, it's not about being a good person and letting this person have a drink of your water. You know, and I'm not talking about a dire situation where it's like you're in the desert and the person's asking you for a water bottle. It's like you're in class or you're at your job, at your office, and some douchebag runs up in there and asks you for a drink of your water bottle, and it's like, no, like, bring your own from home. You know, it's not like you're dying of thirst. Like, go buy your own, right? And if you don't have money, go, why don't you have money? Like, take care of your own before you start to because those people are like leechers, right? So yeah, the English would say that where they would want you to kind of focus on how you're doing things, how you're doing business, how you're handling yourself. Oh dang, I don't know what that was. And let's remember that the most that kind of scared me. Let's remember that the most prosperous country at one point were the English, were the British, right, with their empire, with their global empire, basically controlling most of the world's trade, right? And only focused on trade. Actually, they weren't really focused on taking the countries just for their own benefit. Even though a lot of people did move to those countries, a lot of British people. And the last idea that I want to finish off with or top off with is consensus. There has to be, and this idea is kind of radical. It kind of blew my mind a little because it basically says that it does matter what people think, right? And it matters what they think about you, because what is a contract, for example? A legal binding contract that tells you, or even like your will, or if you have the documents that say that your house is your house, right? Like, this is my property, this is my, I bought this phone, I bought this computer, here's the receipt, here's the proof of purchase. Because let's be honest, people can just say like whatever, like that doesn't mean anything, that's just a piece of paper, break it up, burn it, whatever. But it's the ideas, it's what people believe, right? People believe that a piece of paper, right, currency, excuse me, is worth something. So you're able to purchase things, very valuable and expensive things, with a piece of paper, with invisible money, right? Like when you buy things with a credit card, right? So it's the ideas that people have that are based on wealth, that create wealth, right? That it's the consensus. Because if nobody believed in that, you wouldn't be able to use a dollar bill or any type of bill to purchase anything. People would just say no, like, give me your chickens, or give me something physical, like they used to do back in the days when they would barter, right? But now it's the idea that that's worth something, right? And that then you can go and use that to purchase something you want or need or whatever. So yeah, other people thinking, or the things other people think matters. So you should care what other people think, because it's going to benefit you and your rights, right? So in that way, you're able to protect your property, right? Like, this is my property, you can't come in and take it, right? And this is done through a consensus, right? The legal system is a consensus, right? The rules and stipulations and laws and order at the end of the day is just ideas, very fragile ideas, but ideas nonetheless that a lot of people agree on. It's a consensus, and they say yes, a contract signed by whatever with these type of characteristics is going to be the way in which we can all agree that that's that person's house, or that's that person's property, or that belongs to XYZ, right? And that's gonna create order and wealth in the long run with people, right? So yeah, I'm just starting to read this book, and that's kind of the idea that they're handling in the beginning, which I thought was a pretty cool idea, because we hear a lot of talk about capitalism and capital, but we don't really even know what that means, right? We don't even know the characteristics of it. But here, I hope I presented some of those characteristics. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. So that's all I got for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
We save ourselves from their everlasting seductive pull.
The United States must not adopt the tactics of the enemy. Means are as important as ends. Crisis makes it tempting to ignore the wise restraints that make men free.